Okay, I think everything is there, or if not, yeah, it will be there. So yeah, let's start. Before we start, let me introduce myself. I'm Fio from Fio Gaming Channel, and today we will play on the last day of FallInLoveFestival, organized by VM Studio Elan. And today what we will play is Crimson Waves on the Emerald Sea, Amaranthine Moon from Crystal Gameworks. I believe the dev is marketing in in Studio Alam too. So yeah, hopefully we can do this properly and no error on and no lag on our stream. And yeah, this is the last day, but I will still play a lot of those games because I still have a lot of backlogs from this, and a lot of devs are asking for me to do that, to do some of the gameplay testing. So yeah, expect me to do it in the near future for that. And yeah, I think everything is done. Let me start the game. Where is my mouse? Sorry, this is my mouse. Sorry, I lost my mouse because I have two mouse here. Let me stop the song and play the game. And back here, waiting for the game to load. Then should be soon. Wait a bit. Yeah, it should be running now, so any minute now. Okay, I think you can see the screen. So yeah, the title is quite long. Crimson Waves on the Emerald Sea, Amaranthine Moon. This is a demo, so let's see how it is. Yeah, what I know about this game is about otome, romance, and vampire. So let's see. Press to continue. Start, continue, preference, but quit. Let's go to preferences. Use warrant rating about. This is the demo. Okay. Then this is made by RMP. Okay, should be good. The music is very small. I know. Let me try if there is something that I can increase. Okay, how about now? This is quite small. The music is quite small, but I increase it. Maybe here. Yep, I think this is better because yeah. How about now? It should be okay? Okay, let me raise it a bit more. Yeah, because it is very small, honestly. Okay, should be good. Okay, let's start. I've always wondered how slow time feels for adult vampires. For the fleeting time I was a vampire as a child, it was like a never-ending summer afternoon. Some days I could play the day away with no heat for the time. I could explore every room in the manor thrice over, running from every corner to the next. Other days, the hours slink by, every second dripped by slower than the last. Even the shades couldn't shield the manor from the oppressively sticky heat of summer. Every step felt slower than the last. But for adult vampires who age at half the rate of humans, is it that same feeling? of being stuck indoors during the longest summer day of the year? Or is it more akin to sitting in a backup doctor's office, or watching the fire crackle during the first snow of the year, or waiting on a train that's forever delayed? It's annoyingly introspective thoughts like this that creep their way as I have nothing to do but watch the grandfather clock tick closer and closer to the half-hour mark. A whole half hour I've sat here, waiting, for nobody apparently. All the cordial letters and handcrafted game samples I'd been sent were a sham, or a prank. Once we agreed to meet in person to finalize the business proposal, he hightailed it elsewhere. I clenched the body of my dress. The clock chimes in mockery of me. Not even a servant has so much as entered the room or hallway to inform me of his tardiness. As the grandfather's clock's chime echoes in the room, I glance outside. The day is almost over, but there's still some daylight left. Time better spent outside than in here. I ease my shoulders, promptly standing, and I leave. The nerve of him to gush about how interested he has in my business proposition, to boast about how perfectly handcrafted his games were, only to stand me up. If another letter from him arrives, I'm tossing it into the fireplace. I trudge down an alleyway, not wanting to hit the crowds walking down the main street in the broad daylight. At this time of day, the sun feels its brightest and most headache-inducing. The back alleys, however, are always a pleasant source of shade in areas of town devoid of trees, perfect on a hotter day like this. But they are also perfect for hiding people. Lucie. The main character named Lucie. A darkened figure tags along about a block's length from me. I skip to another alley. He follows. I press against the wall as I pass by a few workers in another alley, turning at an intersection where I'm obscured behind them. He still follows. I'll have to do something more drastic. I double back to the first alley, making a long circle, well, square, to get there without running into him. The stairwell of the building juts out just enough to hide myself with, so I lay in wait there for my pursuer. No one appears from around the corner. Maybe he gave up already? I lean forward to look down the alleyway, but something tugs on my hair ribbon. Hey! What do you think you're doing? Giving chase? Looks more like you're running around and up to no good. You're no fun. What are you doing out of the meeting so early? I went in to check on things and nobody was around. I skip past my brother, ignoring his question. Hey, come on, I want dinner. He didn't show up, didn't he? He must have thought he was too good for my offer. He'll see he cannot get far without help. I grit my teeth. I can feel Nemo looking at me with pity. Alright, let's go home. I turn back to grab his arm, but instead I'm met with a hand pushing down on my head. Hey! I'm sorry, it was not your show. You'll find a better fit soon. Just don't try to rush these things. It's not like I'm going to kick you out. You don't even own the place, you moocher. Hey, I'm not a moocher. What his is mine. That's how marriage goes. Oh. I see, I see. For someone who avoided commitment like the boogeyman, he sure is bragging about it a lot now. Now come on, let's just go home. He lends me an arm, leading us out of the alley. The floorboards creak underneath our feet as we step down the hallway to our flat. Darkened wood lines every wall, making the space feel several shades darker than it actually is. Most of the other residents should be home by now, winding down for the day. But more so than the sound of our footsteps, the melody of a violin permeates through the hall. It's soft and cautious, each note more careful than the last. You can practically imagine someone reading from sheet music while playing the notes. There's something quite relaxing about it, not overwhelmingly loud, but comfortably resting in the background. The piece echoes through the walls, making it hard to tell where it's coming from. As we near our own flat though, the notes stop. I sigh to myself that we won't be able to hear it at dinner. Ambrose. I'm sorry to hear about that. I've heard so many good things about him. He's the jeweler who made my brooch and cravat, after all. Maybe something urgent came up. I'm sure you'll hear from him in the next day or two. How dare he, sending all those battery letters only to stand you up? You act like it was a marriage proposal? It is a serious crime, that's what it is. It's not that either. It's a nuisance. I stepped the pork chop on my plate. They are all suddenly more interested in eating their own meals. The food is rather good, thanks partially to the cooking classes Ambrose is taking. But it just doesn't sit well with me. Not tonight. I eat quickly, leaving a little under half of it still on the plate before heading to my room. Moonlight slings through the blinds and across the floorboards. It bounces off of my mirror just right, hitting my eyes. Question mark? I must have fallen asleep right after dinner. I don't usually take naps so late in the day. I push myself up on my bed, rubbing my eyes. It may be nighttime now, but I don't think I was asleep for very long. I can hear noises from the other room, so Nemo and Ambrose are still awake. Something on my nightstand glints out of the corner of my eye. It's my bottle of pills. A modern marvel of medicine to some and expensive hoax to others. Emeralds refined to the size of a pill have been found to be a cure for vampirism, effectively negating a vampire's heightened abilities and their dependence on blood. At just the right size, they can be digested and dissolved into a person's body. Any larger, and they can be poisonous to vampires who are weak to precious gums. Oh, interesting. The vampires are weak to precious gums. I'm taking notes. Taking pills regularly can turn any person, no matter how long they have been a vampire, back into human. But whether that change is permanent or only lasts while the pills are being taken remains to be seen. While they're not a perfect cure and are rather expensive to acquire at a small scale, they're highly effective. I haven't had to drink blood in years. But I also haven't had the use of my heightened physical abilities in years. Look, I don't care what you do as an adult. If you want to be a vampire, then fine. But I want you to wait until you're old enough to make the decision before all of your friends start aging faster than you. I turned 18 this month. I'm old enough to make my own decisions. I don't need my brother to keep looking out for me. I... Hmm... Yep, maybe they can cure villager zombies like using the that pearl. Maybe. Uh, for the sake of this gameplay, I will don't take the pill. I want to see how the vampirism goes. I pick up the half-full bottle, shaking it gingerly. The emerald pills are small enough to go inside a ring. I push the bottle into my nightstand drawer. Because they are so small, Nemo won't notice a few extra pills. But he is bound to find out eventually. What's so wrong with being a vampire? It's not like I will age so much slower than everyone else. It will only be half the rate. Nemo chose to be with Ambrose, despite him staying a vampire. He should be fine with me deciding to be a vampire too. I take one last glance at the bottle as I stand. There are many people still skeptical about the treatment, but Mr. Douglas was fascinated by it. Precious gems have long been a dangerous poison for vampires, despite their staying power in ornate jewelry. The thought of using them for medicinal purposes rather than for looks or for harm intrigued him. Or so I thought. Him sending me up today was the final nail in that coffin. I shouldn't spend the rest of the early night hours sleeping, or else I'll mess up my sleep schedule. Nemo and Ambrose are in the parlor, as I figured. Nemo has hugged all of the candles and minimal lights, and he looks deep in concentration on fixing the radio. Ambrose is reading the newspaper. Despite the low lighting he's left with, he isn't straining his eyes. Vampiric sight has many advantages. Still, I don't want to be their third wheel the rest of the night. I step out on the balcony. Oh, I didn't see you were out here. No, it's alright. Cecil scrambles to his feet, suddenly eager to get off of the concrete floor. So, how are you doing? How do you think I'm doing? I can't believe that man standing you up like that. We ought to tarnish his name. He'll tarnish himself in due time, acting like that. And besides, I'm not sure how you, of all people, would even go about doing something like that. I'll find someone else to work with on it. Maybe I will reach out to doctors again to gain more public approval before reaching out to manufacturers. I'm sure you can, Lucie. And besides, you can always make Nemo chase after new leads. I think he'd chase them off more than help. He has enough work to do around campus, but he's insistent on going with me to every business meeting, party, and more. I cannot tell if he fancies himself my bodyguard or my chaperone. It's not even his family business. Though, speaking of which, you will be dealing with all of this soon enough. Eh? Do you think your family never has to renegotiate anything? That their remaining privileges are set in stone? That their workers never ask for pay increases or more benefits? That their merchant deals are lifelong? Soon you'll be going, "Oh, Lucie, how did you handle all of this? You're so brave to share you're so young." I already say that. He huffs, turning back to the night sky. For the past few years, he's had little contact with his parents. No more than greeting cards and letters he's forced to write to them just to show he's alive. Instead of commuting several hours by train from the family manor, Cecil is living here, in the stylish apartment that comes with Ambrose's role as headmaster of Prado University. Cecil and I share most of our classes as we are both focusing on business so we can take on our family's companies. And yet, sometimes it feels like it's hard to get a proper answer out of him when I inquire about his plans for the future. Chin you'll get to shadow a local business soon enough. You're lucky you don't have to do that. I've got plenty of real-world experience. They'll only let me count it towards classwork rather than letting me finish school early though. Lucie. His voice is small and short, cutting off his own words almost as quickly as they left him. What is it? Nothing. I reach over and pinch his ear. Oh, ow! It's not nothing if it came to you, so spit it out. It was just a stupid thought, but I was wondering if this is what you really want to do. Again, his words drift off the longer he talks. It is. I've had to live off others' generosity for too long. People who think they owe it to my parents to keep me safe. I want to forge my own path to going forward. I want to prove I can be on my own. Then what does that say about me? Huh? I'm sure you'll find a business partner before long, Lucie. After a moment, it's clear he intends to leave the conversation as that. Cecil's family is from newer money, having made their living from mining operations for precious gems. While his ancestors may have sweated it out in the mines, the current generations live by signing deals with property owners, negotiating labor work, refining the gums, and more. The idea of an opportunity has not been lost on me. Every time I bring it up or even mention it, however, he lets the conversation drop. At least it's a nice night out here, isn't it? I match his gaze. Far beyond the rooftops, stars dot the sky above us. They shine back at us vibrantly, almost twinkling. I don't want to be so dependent on others anymore. I just want to build something myself. For all the prestige and respect they hold, the towering spires of Prado University do nothing to keep the sun from my eyes. The morning glare is so consistent and forceful that most students go out of their way to take the long way around to the east entrance to avoid it. You would think the sun could be more considerate and less intrusive, given the number of vampires working and learning on campus. As for Cecil and myself, we often avoid the problem entirely by winding through the gardens and taking shortcuts that only make sense when you're setting out from the headmaster's apartment. How infuriating! I should be drafting contracts and celebrating now. A rough sigh escapes me, more a sign of exhaustion than anything I'm expecting out of the day ahead. My classes will provide a moment's distraction at the very least. I need to keep my focus sharp and find another prospect quickly. In the future, once Cecil takes over his family business, we can form a partnership and build a more secure chain of supply. There's no chance of that while his father is in control, unfortunately. If I recall correctly, Elm's family owns a series of retail establishments. I have no idea what business they are in exactly, but if he has some connections... Ambrose is also meeting with the new university board soon, if I'm not mistaken. There are several prominent businessmen among the board, including at least 2 wholesalers and a renowned doctor. Perhaps I could convince Ambrose to arrange a meeting with at least one of them? Wait, Lucie. Cecil, what are you doing back here? Well, to start, I saw that stray cat that's been wandering around campus lately, and then by the time I tried to get your attention, you'd gotten this far ahead of me. You know that cat won't pay you any mind, no matter how many slices of roast chicken you leave out of it. I wasn't trying to bribe it, I just wanted to show you, but you move so fast when you get lost in thought. I have not much choice in the matter, thanks to recent events. I'll have it sorted out swiftly enough. You definitely will. You'll have all the merchants in the city begging to partner with you before long. And someday, I will be saying the same to you. This doesn't come as easily for me as it does for you, Lucie. He smiles, but I know him too well to leave it at that. He's been so unsure of himself lately, but Cecil's more than capable of keeping pace with me, even if he doubts it himself. He was up rather late last night though. It's not often I see him so easily distracted either. I will have to ask him about it later. Cecil has been my best friend since we were children, and he always rushes to support me, even when it puts him in danger. I only hope he isn't wearing himself trying to keep up with me now. The university gardens are always immaculate. Students and professors alike meander through its hedges, rushing between classes or taking leisurely strolls. It's also haunted, if you believe the rumors spun from mistaken sightings of marble statues in the dead hours of the night. 5 years prior, a series of vampire attacks terrified the campus and kept most from venturing out after dark. I suppose classroom rumors are a sign of Prade's recovery from that incident. Instead of a ghost, however, I see a tall, pale face beneath the lilac blossoms. Good. I need to catch him before class begins. Are you admiring the flowers? Or have you been waiting for us here? Oh, Lucie. I've shared a class with Elm for half a year now, and he saved both Cecil and I countless headaches in that time. For all the expertise and wisdom kept in these hallowed halls, most of our professors are dead set on explaining things in the most obtuse and unreasonable ways imaginable. Elm has a keen talent for translating all of their theoretical jargon into a language anyone can grasp. His family has several holdings in retail business outlets, though now that I think more on it, I don't know much about what they do or where their money comes from. It's easy to forget details like that when we talk. He always listens intently, and he is consistently surprising even our processors with his insights. Not that you'd know from the detached air about him. No matter what the situation, Elm can always set someone at ease. Most often, I think, by taking much of their unease onto them himself. Do you have a moment before the professor arrives? I'd like to speak with you about... I'm sorry. His voice is so brittle. It's usually hard to read any of his expressions, but right now he's clearly preoccupied. Not today. What? I'm not in a sound state today. Do you feel unwell? You look the part, not up. He shakes his head. Lucie, there's something I'll tell you later. Wait, just a minute now. Before I can ask him what's on his mind, he ducks into the classroom and makes his way to a desk. Lucie, what was Elm saying? He seems out of sorts. I'm not sure. It's almost as if he was in shock. You don't think he's caught a summer cold, do you? I almost hope it's as simple as passing sickness. but I have never seen that heaviness in Elm's eyes before. Ah, the professor on her way. Lucie, let's head inside. Yes. Elm reaches ahead and sits down in the back corner of the classroom, far from his usual seat near Cecil and I. And then, I may not get another chance to speak with Elm until after class. After asking about his family business can wait. I won't leave one of my friends languishing like that. Though, I'll admit it's often hard to read his expressions. Maybe it would be a bad idea to press him on anything now if he's feeling unwell. My nose wrinkles, and I force myself to follow along with the professor's droning. Sorry, I am changing position a bit, but it's good. Okay, let's continue. Finding Elm after class proves more troublesome than anticipated. He excused himself partway through the lecture and never returned, and now I've not an inkling of where he might be. Few noises, yeah. I doubt he's avoiding me in particular, but it does seem as though he's avoiding everyone. In which case, why would he have come to class today at all? I sigh and pace through the campus gardens, borrowing shade from the hedgerows as I consider whether I should keep up the search or let Elm be and turn my focus elsewhere. Perhaps I ought to reach out to another jeweler, though if Douglas calls on me again, well, he's had his chance. Oh Lucie, is there another villain in need of reprimand? It's nothing that drastic. I will have it all sorted out before long, provided that my brother doesn't fuss over me every step of the way. He's showing his concern as best as he knows how. You finished your classes for the day, haven't you? Hello, honey, welcome. Yeah, we are playing. The game name is long. Amaranthine Moon. Crimson Waves on the Emerald Sea Amaranthine Moon demo. That's the game name. The visual novel about romance, otome, and vampire in Victorian era, basically. That's what I read from the description. Okay, let's continue. I happen to have a free moment and I was planning to take a walk into town. I would be delighted to have you join me. Ambrose offers me his elbow and space beneath his parasol, a gentle but nonetheless insistent invitation. He's far more considerate than his husband. Honestly, Nemo could at least ask before showing up to hurt me like a wandering goat. I take Ambrose's arm and fall into step alongside the headmaster as he walks beneath the university's grand archway and toward the center of the town. I was considering that myself. I won't refuse the company though. I can't stay for long. You won't have to worry on my account. My errands should only take a few minutes at most. I suppose he's not in today either. After his third impeccably polite knock against an ornate shop door, Ambrose resigns. His errand, as it happens, was meant to be a quick stop to see a gamesmith by the name of Fairfield. Yeah, the good guy is taken already by our brother, nonetheless. I will have to see if Mr. Driscoll has the time. And what is it that you're looking to have crafted, I wonder? Ambrose smiles so fondly. It's obvious that he's planning some sort of gift for Nemo. I'll tell you as soon as I can be sure it's even possible, but for now, let's leave it there. Well, it's no surprise that Mr. Fairfield isn't in. He's not replied to the letter I sent him last week either, so he must have left town without giving proper notice. How strange. In that case, was there anyone in town you'd like to go, Lucie? No, but I'm more than content to wander while we talk. Shall we? Of course. It's been considerably mild of late though. I heard there's storm coming in off the coast. Perhaps I should ask Nemo to fix the window shutters instead of tending to the overgrown trees around the storage building. Your last meeting went well, I take it? Was it the entire board of trustees or just their representative? My Lucie, you're more perceptive than some of the faculty. Ambrose closed his eyes and smiled softly, which I've come to know is a sign of resignation. I know he would rather we wander aimlessly and take this time to distract ourselves from business, but I cannot let even a narrow possibility slip away. Yes, the board met earlier than usual. That storm I mentioned will make the road unfit for travel, and many of them have business outside of Laurenburg. I cannot imagine what you're about to ask, but none of them are open to new business ventures. At least, not yet. And how could you know that for certain? I may not have graduated yet, but if any of them have any good sense... It isn't a matter of good sense, Lucie. Ambrose sighs as we turn into the busy town square. The sun-battered awnings and ivy-covered eaves keeping us in the cool shade. We lost the first quarter of our meeting to one board member complains over a snake oil salesman in his hometown, and another soared up and down that she'd been swindled by a jeweler passing off tinted glass as a ruby. I know for certain that a few of them would be interested in the prospect of a treatment for vampirism, but this isn't the best time. Well, that's a sensible conclusion, but do you really think I couldn't convince them? Regardless of whatever huckster they may be ranting about, I'm living proof that there's a cure for vampirism within our grasp. I can already feel my senses sharpening again. I wasn't expecting my vampirism to return so quickly, but at this rate, perhaps it would only take another few days before I could use my blood arts again. That would be more than enough to prove myself a vampire, and then... I have no doubt that you could convince nearly anyone. It's not that I worry you might fail, Lucie. It's that I'm worried you will push yourself to the point of collapse. You've worked diligently and almost without rest for months now, Lucie. I'm worried that you're driving yourself to exhaustion. I'm hardly close to being winded, much less exhausted. Success in business often comes down to timing and seizing opportunity, doesn't it? And I certainly need to find another opportunity soon. Ambrose pauses in the center of the street and the crowd parts around us, as if we are standing on a small boulder in the middle of a rushing street. I promise you that I will tell you the moment I cross paths with a potential partner or investor, and you've already crafted a remarkable business plan. I think you could easily afford to take things slowly for a time, even if only for a few days. Though the look on your face tells me that you disagree. I don't see how I can rest on my laurels when I don't even have a supplier. I can't very well market a cure for vampirism if I have no way to actually offer it. And it's not as though it's easy to procure gems of the appropriate purity. The cost alone is prohibitive, let alone the time and skill required to process each bill. I have to solve this problem first, otherwise I cannot even take the next step. I can feel my grip tighten around Ambrose's arm, but he says nothing. Relaxing again, I take a step forward and he matches my pace. Someday, I'm certain that vampires who wish to become human will be able to do so with the same ease as one might treat a recurring headache. And when that day comes, it will be a result of all your work and effort. Thank you for your advice and your concern. I'm more than comfortable at this pace, however, and once I secure a viable partner, I will have plenty of time for leisure and relaxation. At least for a few hours, I expect. Ah, speaking of which, have you not heard anything from Douglas yet? He seems worried, far more than I expected he would be overhearing about a missed appointment. Unfortunately, I cannot afford such sympathies right now. Not a word, but it hardly matters. I won't waste any more ink on unreliable cats like him. That's concerning. I could understand if he didn't contact you yesterday evening, but to ignore you into the afternoon? Perhaps he's taken ill. We aren't far from his offices, if you like to stop in. A waste of time, I suspect. Thank you, though. I am grateful in spite of the circumstances. Ambrose could hardly bear any blame for a jeweler's negligence, though I'm sure he feels some responsibility since he's the one who falls for Douglas as a trustworthy prospect. I'll consider it once I've taken care of other business. I'm sure it's a simple misunderstanding. A bell chimes above to mark the quarter hour. Ambrose waits patiently as the sound fades into the din of the town square, then gestures back towards the university. It seems I'm out of time, unfortunately. I've got another appointment soon, so I'll be heading back. Are you returning to campus as well? No, I think not. I will see you tonight at dinner, Ambrose. Of course, it should be a crown of lamb, provided I'm not held up by the faculty. Goodbye for now. Yeah. Ambrose turns and I let the shadow of his parasol slip away, leaving me in the sun. It's brighter than I expected, nearly as bright as it was in my childhood. The afternoon crowds have filled the town square, with laborers and tradesfolk winding through the bakeries and market stands on their lunch break. Carriage wheels and newly shod horses leave a dull staccato in the air as they pass one another in the streets. Shock bells ring one after another. A large fountain babbles conversationally to the people gathered around it, and in the distance, a small crowd applauds. I consider that Douglas' office is on the far end of the square, but the sound of a violin catches my ear. Is that what warranted the applause I heard? There's something both immediately familiar and uncanny. I've never heard this song before, and certainly never in this place, but the melody feels really nostalgic. I suppose a skilled performer can evoke all sorts of emotions in their audience. Let's see what sort of person this fiddler is. The quick triplets and rich vibrato echo through the plaza, but actually seeing past the gathered crowd is becoming a hassle. A group of taller men in particular stand right in the middle, and I have half a mind to drag them to the back of the audience. There are people behind you, you dolts. I reach forward to pry the wall apart when the fiddler strikes a sharp chord and leaps up onto the fountain's edge. Dots! They raise their violin up and their fingers dance across its neck. The audience claps to keep time. A bubbling warmth rises in my chest and I cannot look away. They wear a mask, but they're clearly quite handsome. Their slicked back hair shines in the afternoon sun, and their hands cradle their instrument with a fierce delicacy. And the sound. I don't know where they were trained, but they are bursting with energy as if they cannot help but throw their bow across the strings. It's enchanting. I've attended a fair number of performances in my life, from full chamber orchestras to unaccompanied singers in a roadside tavern. It's been years since I've heard a performance so desperate and impassioned as this. It's almost as if they're gasping for breath, and that violin is the only air they can breathe. Finally, the middle-aged man barring my path steps aside, and I move a bit closer to the front for a better look at this masked fiddler. Our eyes met for a moment behind their mask. Their bow hangs for a half beat too long, and they hop back down to finish the song. That's beautiful. That paragraph is beautiful, honestly. Before I can find them again, a round of applause rings out, and the people around me plan for an encore. The clasps of an instrument's case click shut. Are they leaving already? I need to get their name at the very least. A musician with that level of passion and talent could do better than basking in the square. And I wouldn't mind hearing them play privately for me either. Wait! There's no path forward. Eventually, the crowd breaks and people start dispersing in dozen directions. By the time I reach the fountain's edge, the masked fiddler is gone. I sigh to catch my breath. That's likely for the best. I almost let myself get carried off track. Handsome musicians are a hazard in many ways. I wonder what the business prospects are like for the agents and the representatives of popular performers. Aren't you already taking on enough work as it is? I'm more capable than I was when I was a child, Nemo. More capable of running yourself back, maybe? I glower at him. And what have you come into town to fetch? Nemo lifts up a bundle of meat wrapped in butcher's paper. A crown, apparently. Come on, I'll walk you back unless you've still got business here. No. I sigh and let my shoulders sink. Let's go then. I'm getting hungry. You know this is for dinner, right? Don't worry, I'm not going to eat your husband's crown. Nemo holds his arm out and I take it as we move through the din of afternoon traffic. In a short while, we'll be back at the apartment and I'll need to start drafting more inquiries and preparing samples. I will consider what Ambrose said earlier. If I can secure a reliable supply of cups, then I can prove the treatment's effectiveness more easily. The evening will pass uneventfully, and by week's end, I will forget all about Douglas' audacity and insult. But that calm, unremarkable future doesn't come to pass. As we wind through the square and emerge from an alley, I catch a glimpse of the building where Douglas keeps his office. 5 police officers are gathered around the open doorway in a huddle, while other officers filter in and out of the narrow hallway. Stray phrases catch my ear. One officer says, "He's been here a few hours." Another says something like, "Already going cold. Found him earlier today, possibly since." A carriage crumbles past and drowns out the rest of the phrase. A chill sweeps over me and my feet pulls me toward ominous chatter. No reassurance or comfort are waiting for me in that office. I missed that. Sorry. Yeah, this one. A chill sweeps over me and my feet pulls me toward the ominous chatter. No reassurance or comfort are waiting for me in that office, nor in overhearing the officers outside. Even so, I walk closer. A rush of foot traffic floods into the street as passengers head for the train platform. In the chaos, it's easy to slip away and duck behind an oncoming carriage before Nemo can even notice I've gone. The clock chimes at the top of the hour a moment before I reach the doorway. Outside, the police are still chattering about how hard it would be to cordon off the area and turn away gawkers. They don't seem too concerned with all the people passing in and out of the main building though. It's almost embarrassing that I can slip in so casually without throwing a second glance. Douglas' office occupies the ground level of a fairly new yet imposing building close to the center of Laurenburg. See if the neighbors have heard anything first, and then finish documenting the scene. Yes, sir. Hey you there, check the locks on all the windows for tampering. This one's looking a lot like the Fairfield case. I hear an officer's voice coming from an open doorway to my left. He continues, but I cannot follow his word anymore. My eyes fall to a prone, rigid form draped across a sofa near the back of the room. Okay. And Fairfield case. We want to talk to Fairfield and Miss Douglas too. And the rigid form. One of the officers steps aside, and the face of a corpse stares back at me with gaunt and glassy eyes. The officer's chatter confirms my fear. The man I was supposed to meet yesterday evening is lying dead in his office with blood caked around his lips and staining his tie. Someone there? Clear out! This is crime scene! No go-kart! My legs move before I can think clearly. Douglas is dead? How? When? The nearest doorknob is already in my hand. Good, it's unlocked. My shin slams into a low table and I tumble backwards into an armchair. The sunlight stings my eyes as if I hadn't suffered insult enough, and then my vision adjusts. Yep. And if you notice, they said the same as Fairfield too. The Fairfield is the jeweler that we want to talk with Ambrose before. I've often felt the unnerving sensation of reliving memories in a dream. It's never happened to me in the waking world though. A grandfather's clock's chime echoes through the room. I glance outside, and the sun is still high above the rooftops. I clench the hem of my dress. I'm back in the same seat I occupied less than a day ago, waiting to finalize a business deal with the man now lying dead less than a dozen feet away. My mind swirls and my memories fray. Was Douglas already dead by the time I arrived last night? Did he die while I waited here, never realizing? On the way in, I saw 5 coppers, and inside, 3, maybe 4 others. My breath catches in my throat. Natural death, no matter how tragic, don't draw this level of scrutiny. Murder. I would like to be overreaching and leaping to unreasonable conclusions, but I can still recall the odd figure I chased through the alleyway last night. Did they see me? Did they know I was here? Was Douglas being killed as I sat in this chair? One of them mentioned Fairfield earlier. Is that the same Mr. Fairfield that Ambrose tried to call on earlier today? Stray syllables slick out of the neighboring room, but I cannot hear anything complete if I press my ear to the wall though. Who's there? I tear my face away from the wall and grip the arms of the chair so firmly that my nails nearly rip the upholstery. Oh, Elm. Oh, my apologies. I wasn't aware anyone else had an appointment today. The coincidence. This is crossing over into the absurd. Why is Elm here? Why has he changed his outfit completely since he was in class? I hope you've not been waiting long. No, I only arrived moments ago. Good, I can pour you some tea if you'd like. No, thank you. If I may ask. Go right ahead. What exactly are you doing here? Elm smirks. He never smirked. At least not that I've seen. I'm afraid you have me at a disadvantage, if I may. He reached forward and before I can stop him, he's lifting my fingers to his lips. Elm? Ah, you met my brother. I'm sorry for the confusion. Brother? I've never mentioned having a brother, let alone a twin. Why wouldn't he have brought that up? Despite the circumstances, I'm charmed to make your acquaintance. I'm Rowan, currently the head of my family's business and estate as of this morning. At a glance, he looks just like Elm, but the air around him is completely different. From the slight smirk tugging at his lips to the confidence in his posture, he holds himself with incredible assertiveness and poise. I allow him to take my hand in greeting, but I can barely keep track of what he says. Elm is his brother? Mr. Douglas was their father? That would explain Elm's behavior earlier. He must be grief-stricken, but meanwhile his brother doesn't betray a trace of sadness. Why didn't Elm mention his twin to me? And why is Rowan taking all of this in such an easy stride? Pleased to meet you, Rowan. My name is Lucie, and I'm sorry for your loss. It's unfortunate, yes, but I have already had time to grieve. More importantly, I've been settling my father's outstanding business, and I do hope you're still interested in pursuing our option together. At that, he closes his hands around mine and flashes a reckless grin. How brazen! I can see he takes after his father in that regard. I'm relieved that you came by. I saw one of your recent letters among my father's papers, and I was hoping to run into you eventually, so that I might apologize in person and hear your proposal. I'm relieved to hear it. About your father? Rowan shakes his head, sullen but not unsettled. My father put his work first at all times, even to the detriment of his health. He kept unreasonable hours and regularly worked himself to the point of exhaustion at his desk. So, in a way, I've been expecting this to happen almost every day for years. Anyways, Ed will come first, so let me drink a bit, get some rest, then let's continue. I think we are close to the end of this demo. Okay, Ed is here, so let me silent myself. I'll left in this song. See you in 3 minutes. Okay, let's continue. We are done with this. So, let's continue. A colleague of ours also died under suspicious circumstances recently, so I'm sure the coppers are just taking every precaution. Thank you, Hyde. I think my father was always in the greatest danger from himself. My condolences. A writhing, coiling knot rises in my stomach. I'm still reeling from Douglas' death and the prickling unease left by my question about Elm and Rowan. Is their family business even stable right now? Is Rowan trustworthy? I will have to sort it out later. At present, I need to know exactly why the police are here in such force, and I doubt that figure fleeing the scene last night was just a harmless bystander. If you have everything in order, shall we continue discussion of our potential partnership? Unfortunately, the day after tomorrow is the earliest I could give you the attention you and your ideas deserve. The day after tomorrow. That's acceptable. Thank you for your understanding. Even though I fully expected my father to work himself into an early grave, I will need a bit more time to make arrangements for his burial. Rowan smiles easily, but despite his confidence and aplomb, he cannot hide the crooked knot in his tie or stray loose buttons on his cuffs. I wonder if he's taking his father's death worse than he appears. Though I still don't see why the police would be so interested in the jeweler's natural death, no matter how untimely. You have my sympathies. What time should I meet you then? You're pretty forward, you know. I'm not fond of delays unless they are absolutely necessary. A woman of ambition and charm, let's meet at my family's manor after breakfast. It's close to the university and we'll waste less time stepping aside for the coppers. Perfect. I will look forward to formalizing our partnership then. As will I, Miss Lucie. Rowan bows deeply, raising his face to meet my eyes and flashing that reckless grin of his once more. He certainly inherited his father's sense for flattery. In the window just behind the grandfather clock, I noticed Nemo searching for me among the afternoon clouds. Sorry. I'm not feeling at ease with the police lingering so close by either, so it's time I head back. Thank you again. It's a pleasure to meet you, in spite of the circumstances. I will take my leave. Of course, and we'll speak again soon. I leave the small meeting room quietly, then hurry down the hall, slip behind the coppers, and grab Nemo by the arm to pull him into an alley. Hey, Lucie, what's going on? Where do you disappear to? Douglas' office. And you don't have to just tell me where you are going? Something caught my attention. Did you notice the suspicious figure I chased through the alleys last night when you found me? Yeah, because that was me. Were you trying to catch a burglar to pass the time? That was you? Well, in any case, it wasn't a burglary. In fact, this whole affair might be more involved than I anticipated. Nemo can be overprotective at times, but he knows when to listen, and he's fairly good at it when the mood strikes him. And so he listens as I tell him everything I saw, the condition of Douglas' body, Rowan's sudden appearance, and the murmurs I heard from the police. They wouldn't be putting this many coppers on the scene if they thought Douglas' death was natural, would they? Probably not. I heard something else too. I look up at Nemo and he returns a pensive glare. I know that look pretty well. He's warning me not to divert first into something dangerous. What was it? Heard a detective mention that another jeweler by the name of Fairfield was found dead last week. I feel my breath catch. I know that this could be a coincidence. Maybe the coppers are leaping to conclusions and there's no connection. But if there is, and if two prominent jewelers in Lowland died within a week of one another, who could be responsible? And why? Do you remember how Fairfield died? No, that's the sort of thing they would have printed in the papers though. You read the papers at the most obnoxious times, in fact. Yeah, then that's why I don't have to remember all of it. The papers won't forget. Fine, I will have to ask the paper then. The man inside called for a chemist, by the way. Oh, so Douglas was poisoned. I'm not sure. He looked pallid skin, blood dribbling down his neck, staining his shirt, the emptiness in his eyes. I'm no expert on these things. It's possible. We talk about possibilities and contingencies all the way home. Not that Nemo knows how to navigate business with the requisite delicacy. We part at university gates, and for the next several hours until nightfall I try and fail to find any trace of Elm. What an exhausting day. It feels as though I woke up a full week ago and I've been running without a rest since then. Of everything that happened though, I find that there's one in particular that won't leave my mind. Cecil, Elm, Rowan, or the Fiddler. There is a lot of things, honestly. There is a lot of things, but I will check on Elm first. I am intrigued with Elm. Elm has been a true friend for some time now, and he's joined Cecil and I on more than a few of our misadventures. Though we met a few years previously, I've gotten to know him even better since we started sharing class this past spring. I have never seen him so completely at a loss. What could have kept him from telling us about his family? And that he has a twin brothers even. If I can find him tomorrow after class, I will make a point to hear him out. Hello me, welcome! Yeah, welcome to the stream. We are playing Crimson Waves on the Emerald Sea Amaranthine Moon demo. This is visual novel about romance, detective, otome, in Victorian era and vampire. I am adding more things and more things to this. There's an uneasy weight in my chest. Elm and Rowan both lost their father last night, and if Elm is feeling anything like what I felt as a child when I learned of my family's fate. Enough of this. Speculation won't help Elm any, and it won't get me any closer to understanding what he's going through. I will speak with him tomorrow, once I've had more time to recover from the shock of today. Thinking any further will only tie my brain into knots. I have not the time to untangle that. And more than that, even these thoughts can't keep this ghastly image of Douglas' lifeless face from intruding into my memory. Sleep will help. Yes, I will sleep. And I can only hope that tomorrow is a calmer day. Nostalgia can be an insidious thing. It's all too easy to hold fondness for memories when the pain of the moment dulls and you remember only the simple sweetness and thrill. On particularly bright summer mornings, I catch myself getting wistful as I think about the time I spent darting through empty classrooms on campus, hiding out in haylofts and scoring back alleys while I search for answers. In spite of any excitement I felt 5 years ago when Cecil and I planned out to search for my parents' killer, my memory of that time is still stained with tears. Whenever I feel a nostalgic pang as I pass by a classroom and recall the fun I'd had roaming free in Laurenburg, I remember how many nights I spent crying myself into restless sleep. I don't even remember my parents properly, and just learning of their deaths devastated me. Tears and clenched fists and bared fangs and reckless adventure all led me to an even more painful answer in the end. Grief never follows a convenient course, and there are rarely simple feelings whose dispatch will close all your open wounds. Em and Rowan lost their father just hours ago, a father they both knew and spoke to every day. No, perhaps that's not right. I don't actually know anything about Elm's relationship to his family, do I? In all the time we've known one another, he never mentioned that he has a twin or that his father was a prospective business partner of mine. I'm sure I mentioned the deal to him at least once while we were studying after class. Rowan's face keeps coming into mind as well. He was charming, inviting even. If I hadn't seen his father's small corpse moments before we met, I might have even had butterflies in my chest. That familiar mixture of confusion, excitement, and misery on the edge of terror fills in the space between my thoughts again. Sitting at the front of classroom, I cannot keep the whole whirl of memory and curiosity from distracting me. If Rowan was so unfazed and moved on so quickly from his father's death, was their relationship really that bad? If so, then why Elm so distraught? Even now, I can tell he's barely paying attention to the professor. Though, if he's close to his father, why has he never mentioned either his family or his sibling? Of course, the most delicious possibility could be true. I already entertained and dismissed the notion that Rowan had killed his father to take over the family business, and that Elm was living in fear of what might happen to him in the aftermath. It was my first and immediate suspicion after leaving Douglas' office, but Nemo and I both agreed that it was unlikely at least. If Rowan were the killer, he could have chosen a far more convenient time and method that would draw less suspicion into himself. I am not fully convinced that he is innocent, of course, but I would like to believe him. Perhaps I am just extending goodwill to him because of my concern for Elm. That will be all for today. We'll be discussing the next treatise of current exchange later this week, and you may call upon me if you have questions in the meantime. Dismissed. Wait here. Dots. Yesterday, I met your twin, Rowan. A twin brother? Truly? Why didn't you tell us? Does he attend school here too? I didn't. There have been a lot happening lately. Yeah, I heard about your father. Dots. I'm sure you have your reasons. But why did you keep all that secret from us? I may be entering into business with your brother, and I want to know. I stopped suddenly, and the rails of my thoughts vanished beneath me. What am I expecting of him now? What is it that I really want to know? I don't know. Elm looked exhausted and anxious. There's a miserable icy weight in the pit of my stomach. And why do I feel so incensed? It's nothing worth mentioning. We should get going. There's another class coming in soon. And is that true? Wait a moment, Lucie. Do you mean that scoundrel who stood you up is Elm's father? I'm sorry, I need to go. There's an appointment, and Elm makes way as he stammers out his words, his eyes never meeting my own. I reach to grab his shoulder, but he's even quicker than I expected. He leaves Cecil and I standing in the midst of the other students filtering through the classroom door like water over a weir. Let's follow him. I'm worried about where he might wander. I think I'll leave him to you, Lucie. Cecil gives me a sheepish smile and ducks away. I forgot something earlier, so I will stop by town to fetch it. Don't wait out for me. What did you forget? I can lend you my books if you need. I don't think Cecil is even listening by now. Is he anxious about excavating Elm's family secrets? He hurries away, waving an apology as he goes. Wait, Cecil! He doesn't wait though. There was a soot in his knuckles that closes off any room for doubt. He's absolutely hiding something, and knowing Cecil, he's liable to get in over his head before he realizes he should ask for help. Well, I'm not about to let him leave at that. Accepting that, I can see Elm already making his way into the hall. If I lose sight of him now, I may not be able to find him again until day after tomorrow. Well, let's go to Elm Root because I'm dedicated to that. As much as I would like to know what's got Cecil rushing off so suddenly, I know he'll tell me in time. Elm though. He should be only a few paces down the hall, and he isn't even walking quickly, but every step toward him feels like I'm walking through lapping waves. I'm anxious. I was too focused to notice it sooner, and now I've only got the span of a few yards to think about what I will say. I need to know why he kept his twin existence a secret. By what do I say to someone who lost their father just 2 nights past? Wait, where is he gone? He's gone. I only hesitated for a moment. He is probably on his way back to his manor, right? Elm! Elm! No reply though. I expected as much. I'm not in shoes built for sprinting, but I can manage 100 yards at least. I recall the directions Rowan gave me well enough. I should be able to follow the roads there and catch Elm along the way. Unless he's running at a breathless pace, I should at least be able to catch sight of him before he shuts him away. And I can easily keep up this measured pace for longer if I need to. But I don't. There's no reason to keep running. I move past a pair of solemn, downcast faces beneath a blooming lilac arbor, and I stop. I'm not out of breath, but I still feel my pulse quicken. I sit down beside the stoic marble bust of one of the university's founders on a short pedestal, and I look up through the vines. Perhaps Ambrose was right. There are things I might miss if I rush too quickly straight ahead. The flowers here are lovely. They only bloom for a day or two. They'll be gone once the storm passes through. Besides me, Elm's face is just as graven and dark as the statues keeping watch throughout the garden. His voice doesn't carry a tremor and is softer than usual, almost weary. A shame then. I'm sure Ambrose wouldn't mind if we cut a few to keep before the wind carries them off. Whether the headmaster minds or not, I don't think your brother would let you steal the garden shears again. The next thought doesn't form completely in my mind. Elm and I both linger uncomfortably for a moment. Elm tenses briefly as I reach up. For now, I will have to do without asking about Rowan. I pinch the stem of a lilac high on the arbor, twist it swiftly, and snap it off the vine. I offer it to Elm, rightly proud of myself. I don't need to steal anyone's shears, fortunately. It seems you don't, Lucie. He's smiling. At least a little, which is significant for someone like him. That's so. Elm takes in a slow breath. You heard that my father died the night before last. Yes, I'm sorry. No, it's not. I didn't expect it. I thought it wouldn't happen for decades more. That's... My father wasn't the most present man. He worked from before sunup to long after sundown, week upon week. He especially threw himself into work over the past several years. I always thought he would work away his grief in time. Thoughts. I wanted to talk to him. It was today that we were supposed to meet. You don't have to say more than you'd like. If you want to talk about your father though, I've got a better set of ears than the founders. I tilt my head towards the barbell bus beside us, and Elm chuckles slightly. They are attentive at least. With some effort, Elm rises to his feet and accepts the lilac I pluck as he does. The sight of him bringing the petals up to his nose, smiling at the sand, and then placing this flower in his breast pocket is unexpectedly beautiful. I'm sorry I've been avoiding you and Ceci lately. Would you like to walk with me for a while? What? Oh yes, by all means. Thank you for the flower and coming to find me. I hope you didn't expect I'd let you languish here on your own. Cecil would have come with me too, but he had something urgent to attend. Something which I'm going to ask about him tonight. Why did he rush off like that? And these vines are so old and well tended, I doubt even a hurricane could stop them from blooming year after year. Ha! If it only weren't that easy for us. I can hear bitterness pulling down Elm's quiet laughter. We walk on through the garden, and soon through the university gates and into town. I take Elm's arm once we are in the midst of afternoon crowds. He's always a little stiff in these moments. I think he's ever been accustomed to human touch. He's told me that he doesn't dislike it in theory, but when anyone else touches his arm or shoulder, it makes him keenly aware of his own body in a way he's rarely pleased with. I suppose I can understand. I've heard some people experience this when they turn into vampires and suddenly have a heightened awareness of themselves, including any misgivings of anxieties they might have. In Elm's case though, I always wondered if it wasn't just that he spends so much time in his own mind that he rarely gives his body a second thought. Time slips by us slowly as if we are swimming against its flow, walking slowly as the sun drops toward the rooftops of Laurenburg. Once 3 summers passed, Cecil and I walked with Elm through the streets. I forget if we even had a goal or if we were just enjoying a carefree afternoon, browsing the storefronts and window displays. We stopped by a clockmaker, one of those old shops with yellowed windows and faded sign above the door. The brass handle on its entrance was smooth and worn from the weight of thousands of hands. Elm stood there, transfixed and singularly focused on an open pendulum clock with its shifting gears. A small city moved around its base with porcelain carriages and ladies beneath lace parasols, shifting at each quarter hour. Look at it, you two, he barely spoke above a whisper. Isn't it wondrous to see every part laid out and fitted together so finely? Cecil eagerly agreed, and the two spent a fair while excitedly chattering about the marvels of precision engineering, though Elm didn't seem as taken with the fine embellishments. Rather than the decoration on each piece, Elm stared at the whole mechanism as if he were gazing at the night and mapping every star. It's laid out on plain to see, every piece and part in harmony. I can almost hear his words from all those years past as clear as the chime of that clock. He's certainly a strange fellow, but a reliable friend and a steady presence. Perhaps that's why seeing him so shocked has left me unnerved as well. Up ahead of us, a young couple walks away from an alleyway stall with absolute glee. A middle-aged man with a brilliant sapphire necklace and matching cufflinks is waving goodbye to his last customers and beckons Elm over with the same motion. His table is full of rings and pendants all set with enormous gems, which is why I'm confident he's a thief or a counterfeiter. Haha, yes, welcome. You two seem to be enjoying yourself, so why not get something for your bill there? My jaw nearly drops, but mostly because the quality of the gems in front of me. There's a topaz nearly the size of my thumb, and without a single impurity. I would, but I forgot my wallet. A blatant lie. And why did he think I was the bear? Oh, come now, you might think these are a precious treasure, but I assure you, they are more reasonable than you expect. You see, sir and madam, these are all reconstructed rubies. We've concocted them in test tubes and ground them into the tremendous size, all for less than a miner's monthly wage. Growing the rubies in a test tube. Thank you, but we'll be on our way. Reconstructed rubies? Totally alright. Yes, you see, those are a marvel of modern scientific ingenuity. I'm familiar. I've borrowed a book on the process if you'd like to see it, back at the campus library. They are lovely. Oh no, it looks like he's taken with a pair of ruby hairpins and hasn't caught my meaning. Yes, indeed, a perfect pair of identical hairpins. See how finely the silver filigree fit embraces the price cut of the ruby, like stars blossoming on her vine. The perfect gift for a lady with beautiful hair. Truly a lovely set, wouldn't you say? They'd be lovelier if one of them wasn't fake. I thought I'd mutter under my breath too quiet for anyone but Elm to hear, but judging by the color now draining from his face, I must have been louder than I intended. The vendor squints at me and leans far over the table, thrusting the hairpins towards me. Young miss, why not trying them on? No, thank you. Wait, the gems may well be synthetic, but the settings here are finely crafted. And that's a high grade of silver too. The ornamentation on one hairpin is worth more than he's charging for the pair. Lucie? Aha, I see, yes. You're taken by their beauty as well, aren't you? Go ahead, try them on. I guarantee you, I've got the finest synthesized gums in all the city. No, you haven't. What was that now? Just as I thought, his cheery manner only held up while he thought we might still be gullible. He traded out his honeyed flattery for a sailor's rasp. Hey? Hello? Oh. Unfortunately for him, I've spent weeks reading the latest chemical research into synthesizing gums. Unfortunate for both of us, really. He's either a thief or a counterfeiter, and either way, he's drastically overestimating just how large synthetic gums can grow with the latest techniques. If I'm not mistaken, I think some of these pieces are worth far more than you're asking. You should get them appraised, otherwise, I'm afraid you might be losing a fortune. Thanks for the offer, but we'll be on our way. Elm has shaken out the distraction on his face and he shoots a sharp glare at the vendor before we walk away. No, you listen here. Ow, he's grabbing my wrist with size grip. I heard you render my goods. I apologize. Should I apologize for being too generous? Clearly you don't know what you've got your hand on. Let go of her. Elm immediately wrests the man's arms away and stands between the two of us. It's amusing to see the older man's rifle under Elm's gaze. I didn't realize he could be so intense, if I'm being honest. They stare one another down for a moment before the vendor, or thief more likely, lowers his hand and steps back. Lucie, let's go. Yes, and quickly. Elm turns down the street and I glance back at the likely thief as we go. I only notice the glint of a blade when he's already rushing up to Elm. Elm hasn't noticed the vendor charging, and I expect the older man thinks he'll catch us out easily. I think Elm suffered enough recently, and this shoddy cat could stand to suffer a bit more. I don't have my full vampiric strength just yet, but I should be more than quick enough to twist the knife from his hands. Ah, Rat got me! And more than strong enough to throw him through that collection of stolen baubles he's trying to peddle. Ah! I'll thank you not to trouble us further. Lucie, you... Wretch! Slanderer! I'll have the coppers on you! Not likely, considering how shady your business is. He's still scrambling up to his feet and shouting, but I've already thrown his knife up onto a nearby rooftop, so I doubt he'll be much threat to us. Pompous vampires! Don't look down on me! In a bitter fit, he throws a large emerald brooch at me and it hits my neck with a dull thud. I flinch, expecting a flash of light and searing pain, but nothing happens. The brooch falls to the ground and the stone cracks on impact. Well, would you like to ruin any of your other merchandise while you're at it? Leave it be, wretched cretins! Scrambling like a squirrel caught on slick ice, the man scoops his way into a satchel and rushes away into a nearby building. He's certainly up to no good, and I'd be remiss to let him go after hurling such a sharp brooch at me. That was heavy, you know? Come on, Elm, we cannot let him get away. Wait. As I take off after the suspicious vendor, Elm grabs my hand to stop me. For a moment, I can't speak as we both realize how tightly our hands are clasped together. We separate shortly after, though it's hard to meet his eyes until we begin walking back to campus. Elm's footsteps are steady as a pendulum, but his face isn't nearly as easy to read as a clock. Does he also feel a faint warmth clinging to his fingers? The sun is starting to singe my eyes, so I duck into the shade of a tree. Elm is staring at me, I realize. He's been staring for some time, and his gaze is almost as bright as the sunlight. What is it? Are you a vampire? Yes? I'm almost unsure how to answer. Am I a vampire right now? I know some of my strength is returning, and I can tell that my senses are sharper, especially with this afternoon sun feeling like a blinding flash out in the open. Is that all it takes for me to return to being a vampire though? 5 years of steady dose with pure emerald pills, and then after missing just one, I already start to show signs of vampirism again. If that's truly the case, then I will need to adjust my estimates for treatment plans. It may be more of a chronic condition that needs steady maintenance rather than a condition you can easily reverse or undo. And you have been all this time? He sounds eager, almost excited. I haven't seen so wrapped in attention since he helped a professor explain the origin of modern economic models. I sigh to myself. It would be better to explain the whole of it to him. I see. You mentioned your work and business plans before, but I didn't know you were testing the cure on yourself. It was my brother's idea. Though now that I know just how quickly the effects can fade, I may thank him for being so insistent. What's this testing? This? When you didn't take your last pill, was that part of your test of the treatment? Was it? What were my thoughts the night before last when I stared at my pill bottle before setting it back down unopened? I just wanted to see how it felt again. Honestly, it wasn't as anything as calculated as that. I was nostalgic for the time I spent as vampire in my youth, so I stopped on a whim to see how it felt again. I can say that I miss the harness of the sun though. Do you have fond memories of your time as a vampire in your childhood? That's not an easy thing to answer. Yes, I suppose. I see. He's staring at me so intently. Does he realize his face is getting so close? That's fascinating. There, he is backing away at least. For someone so quiet and solemn, he's surprising bold. He almost seemed entranced. Is he so fascinated by vampires? Or just by me? I'm glad those synthetic gums didn't have a reaction to you at least. That brooch would have left a terrible burn if they had. Yeah, that was fortunate, to say the least. That street vendor couldn't possibly have an actual synthetic gums, could he? He's likely guilty of more than just a momentary outburst in any case. Those were lovely hairpins though. Suspiciously lovely. Those gums were clearly fake, and he admitted as much, but the settings were genuine. What was his game? I haven't heard of any schemes of that sort. Perhaps Ambrose or Nemo may have heard something about this. Thoughts. We're finally back in campus gardens, thankfully. The cool breeze and gentle shade are a relief. El's still quiet. He's been staring into the distance for some time now. Well, shall we return inside then? My family. I haven't had the best relationship with the rest of my family for a few years now. It's nothing intriguing or scandalous. My father devoted himself to his work above all else I said, and since my mother died, he's barely shared a living space with me, let alone a meal. And my brother? Elm's eyes dart away as if he cannot help but glance toward the forest in the horizon. He's a fine person. His voice is clearly strained. There's more to this, of course, but I don't want to press him further right now. I may have been too aggressive in questioning him this morning, too focused on the shock of learning of Douglas' death and Elm's relation to him, too oblivious to the pain it was causing Elm. I'm sorry for not telling you about them. It's well within your right. You don't have to say anything more if you'd rather not. He nods slightly, and for a time we simply stand beneath the arbor of lilac blossoms. Tomorrow I will meet Rowan and discuss a potential business partnership. I should likely ask about that strange vendor too, in case there's something stirring in the city's jewelry market. For now, however, I cannot seem to focus on anything but the odd distance in Elm's face. It's as though he's gone away and left himself here while he visits a memory. A bell chimes and signals the top of the hour, breaking us both free from the garden's calm. I've got to prepare for my meeting with Rowan, and I'm curious to hear if there's been any word on why the coppers are so interested in Douglas' death. I've got another class, Lucie. His hand slides over mine as he gently pulls his arm away from me. Thank you for finding me here today. Of course. I must look like an utter fool, being flustered so easily, and voice is so soothing I almost forget myself for a moment. I've got a preparation of my own, so we'll speak again tomorrow. Take care, Elm. He nods, though I'm not sure he heard me completely. Night falls quickly and then seems to stretch on ages. Though Ambrose dinner of coffin and beyond my heart scrolling on ledger paper in the low lamplight. I fall to bed just before midnight, with very little to show for the hours I spent poring over my correspondence with Douglas. My mind kept wandering as I read his letters again, as much to Elm and his grief as to the strange suddenness of Douglas' death. And if that weren't enough to contend with, the odd wares from the vendor this afternoon still bother me a good deal. Focus. I need to clear my thoughts or I won't be prepared for negotiations with Rowan tomorrow. I can only hope that sleep finds me soon. Yep, I am guessing that is the end, and yeah, that is the end for this route. And yeah, there is multiple route I can see, but I will only play this route and I will save first before it happens. Thank you for playing the demo for Crimson Waves on the Emerald Sea Amaranthine Moon. If you want to help improve the final game, fill out our demo survey. It's anonymous and helps us a lot. You can also support our development by signing up for our newsletter or wishlisting this game on Steam. Either way, thank you for checking out our demo. Yes, and thank you for creating this demo for us. This feels like reading a book, reading a complicated, was it not complicated, more on a complex book. There is a lot of description, there is a lot of slow burn, explanation on how every character is having relationship. And yeah, because I chose Elm in this part, I can see how Elm feels, how the main character feels, the Lucie feels to other people, to the brothers, to the uh, to Ambrose, the brother-in-law, not brother-in-law, the husband, the brother husband, and also how she thinks about the vampirism. It is intriguing, and we are dropped in the middle of this, so we learn the world little by little for this. But yeah, that's an interesting one, and it is a good run for me. I don't think there is any issue on my playthrough, and it is an end of FallInLoveFestival. Today is 1st of October, and there is an October going forward, the Halloween. So I expect to play more of horror games too. Maybe there is a horror festival, you know. But yeah, we'll see. And but before I'm yapping too much, I should end the stream. I will get some rest and some drink, and as always, I will see you later. Good morning, after evening. This is Vio from Vio's Gaming Channel, and see you soon. Nyan. Bye bye.